Are you logged into my Facebook like you're supposed to be? Hey everyone, so we are live today to talk about negotiating styles. So as many of you know, I run a program called Negotiate Like a Lady, and Heather had this brilliant idea that I should tell you guys all about negotiation styles, and she thinks that it's super interesting. You know, I mean, it must be because we put on these programs and ladies come and we hear all about it and we talk to them about the different types of styles, and it's a good day. It's a fun day. So I guess that there's something there. Again, you know, kind of going back to that whole thing with mastery and how sometimes you think that things are just sort of, you know, doesn't everybody know that, and doesn't everybody do that already? So I guess that the negotiation styles are a little bit ingrained in me. And so she was like, oh, you have to tell everybody about all of the negotiation styles. And I was like, oh, people don't want to hear that.
Well, everybody thinks that there's only like one style. Like, you know, there's only like the bully who's going to make you do what.
Which is, of course, the one that she wants me to start with today.
Well, yeah, because let's just get it out of the way. Let's, you know, right. let's talk about the elephant in the room, the one negotiation style everybody thinks is the only one that's available.
Right. So as we went over at the end of last week, I guess, just really briefly, when we said that we were going to talk about negotiation styles this week, there are five different types. And if you want to take a guess as to what the five are, please feel free, put it in the comments and we will go over that. At the end of this video, we'll announce what we're going to do tomorrow, which one we're going to work on. The one that we are talking about today is called competitive. It's also sometimes called aggressive. It has different names, but it's that bully. It's that person that you think of in a negotiation. When you hear the word negotiation, it's probably the type that you think of. It's that person who is sitting across the table from you and they have one objective in mind, and their objective is to win. And the only way that they feel like they win is if they feel like you lost. And they care only about themselves, only about their own objective, only about their own needs. And they frankly could not give two rats patooties about the person on the other side of the table from them. They don't view it as an issue with the relationship. They don't view it as an issue to working together in the future. When Heather and I were talking about the whole, like, it's not personal, it's business, they absolutely feel that way about negotiations. Like, it's not personal to them. This is what I need. This is what I'm going to get. This is why we're here. And it is just about their perspective. They are high on what we call assertiveness. So there's two sort of factors that play into your negotiation style. So there's assertiveness and there's cooperativeness. Well, assertiveness and cooperativeness in negotiation styles mean something a little bit different than what they mean in the common vernacular. So assertiveness simply means me, mine, I, what I need out of this negotiation. Whereas cooperativeness is caring more about the needs of the other person in the negotiation. So you can score really high on cooperativeness, where you actually care more about the other person's needs in the negotiation than your own. And you can score really low on assertiveness, where you, again, don't care about your own needs in the negotiation. Somebody who has the competitive style, though, they score very high on assertiveness, meaning that they are very much concerned with their needs and only their needs in the negotiation. And they score very low on cooperativeness, meaning that they don't care about what happens to the person on the other side of the negotiation. That's not their job. Their job is to get what they need, and that's it. There's no worry about the relationship. There's no worry about what the other person needs. There's no worry about any of that. It's, what do I need? What can I get out of this?
And that's a lot of the negotiation style that most of us are used to. That's what we identify as a negotiation style. Somebody who is like, nope, I'm looking out for number one, just looking out for myself, looking out for what's best for me. So.
Well, that's what most of us sort of, I don't know if we associate it with a negotiation style, but I definitely think that that's what we think of when we think of a negotiation. Like I think that term negotiation sort of brings up this idea of the us against them, me against him, you know, me against her, whatever it might be, which sort of leads to this whole win-lose type of a scenario. But there are other negotiation styles. There are 4 other styles. They're not all this, you know, hyper me, I don't care about you sort of situation. So when you think about it, it's a small percentage of the population who actually approaches negotiations from this win-lose perspective, from this idea that I must win by making you lose. And there are different tips and tricks and techniques that you can use to overcome that sort of negotiation style too. I mean, there are things that you can do to establish your own place in the negotiation. There are ways that you can make them feel like they have a win when, you know, so that you can get something else from them, right? I mean, so that's one of the strategies that you can use, is to give them a win. And it's not in something that you care about. Don't give them a win that's like super important to you, you know, but you give them a win on something that is okay for you to give a win on, in order to help bolster that they're feeling good. They've got this win under their belt. And so then they're not having a problem with giving up something else, because, you know, and maybe you played that off as something that they don't really care about. So the problem with the competing negotiation style is that they play everything very close to the vest. And so it's difficult to get additional information from them. And so it's also difficult to come up with this idea of thinking outside the box, of, you know, strategic problem solving and working with the other person in order to come up with ideas and with, you know, situations where it's not just it's a win-lose type of a thing. So that can be difficult. The biggest thing to do with somebody with a competing strategy or a competing style is to continually ask questions and to try to get information out of them. And, you know, and to try and put their mind at ease too. You know, I mean, there are things that you can say like, hey, I'm trying to look out for you here just as much as, you know, just as much as I need to get my needs met. I want to make sure that we get all of your needs met. So let's talk about what you need out of this negotiation, and you turn it back around on them. Because if they feel like they've gotten their needs met, then they feel like you've given in to them, which makes them much more likely to then give you something that they find inconsequential in return.
So, and I think that's one of the hallmarks, or that's one of the strategies to use on all of the negotiation styles. I mean, really asking questions and getting to know what a person's negotiation style is one of the top ways that you can be successful in negotiations. It's one of the techniques that Jen teaches in her Negotiate Like a Lady workshop, is how to do some of this pre-planning, how to prepare to go into a negotiation. And like she said, what are some of the strategies once you're inside of a negotiation to be able to find out what the other person's negotiation style is? Because once you know what the other person's negotiation style is, it gives you much better leverage to figure out how you're going to approach them to get what you need out of the relationship or out of the negotiation. See, obviously I'm not a competing style type of a person because I'm worried about the relationship. But
and that was something that came up today. So today we had our first half-day workshop with the ladies who are in a longer program with me. So the ladies came to my office and we were together for half a day to do some role playing and to really delve into what they're trying to get out of this, out of our program, and work with them on their specific issues regarding their personal negotiation styles, as well as the styles of the people that they're most often coming up against. And one of the questions was actually centered around this, like, how do I figure out what the person's style is on the other side? And, you know, we were talking specifically about like competitive, because there's a woman in our group who she thinks that she's going up against somebody who's a competitive style, but after finding some more information, I think that he might be more of a collaborative style. And so, you know, there was this, well, how do I know? How can I tell? And so one of the questions, or one of the answers is asking questions. When you ask questions, you can figure out somebody's negotiation style. You want to pay attention to their body language. You want to pay attention to the words that they use. There are specific ways that they'll answer a question that will give you insight into what their negotiation style is. There are certain ways that they'll approach you. There are certain body language cues and triggers that you can play off of. There's verbiage that people use just in their regular speech that will give you clues about whether or not they're a competing style or if they're one of the other four. So there are a lot of cues and a lot of clues that you can pick up. And, what we work on with women is to teach them how to find those things and what to look for so that they can identify or attempt to identify the negotiation style on the other side of the table. Because once you know your negotiation style and you know the style of the person on the other side of the table, then you've got a whole toolbox full of skills that you can use to try and work through that negotiation in the most beneficial method, possible. Like, there are certain negotiation styles where if you guys are both on the same page, you could literally lay out all of your stuff and then say, all right, so let's try and come up with the solution here. And maybe it's not one that either of us are thinking of, but they lend themselves to sort of that out of the box thinking. There are other negotiation styles where that's not possible. You can't lay all your stuff out on the table. So understanding which negotiation styles use what set of tools will help you to decide how to move forward, and it'll help you to get to the best outcome. And, we have these conversations all the time. One of the exercises that I gave the ladies today was regarding going home and picking, dinner options with their husbands. Like, you literally go through negotiations every day of your life. You just don't realize it. So that's what we work on. It's right around that 15-minute mark. So we need to sort of wrap it up and whatever. But do we have any? I can't see. So did we have any comments or questions or anything else, Heather?
No, not today. No, today we didn't. There are no other questions. So, okay. What negotiation style should we tackle tomorrow?
Well, we could tackle most women fall into 3 categories. So we will tackle the other one that some women fall into, but not most, and that's avoidance. So avoidance will be our topic for tomorrow. That's our avoiding style. You guys can probably take a couple of guesses what it looks like. But
again, Jen will have some tips and tricks. Again, asking questions is going to be the best way to figure out negotiation styles in general. But there's some other tips and tricks and some body language cues that Jen might be able to give us clues about tomorrow to tell, so you can recognize when you're dealing with somebody who's has an avoiding style of a negotiation.
Right, and some tricks to get them into the negotiation, because that's the hardest part with somebody with an avoiding style. Right. So yeah, we'll go over that tomorrow. We'll talk about avoiding. If you are interested in figuring out, more of these tips and tricks and getting, that pre-negotiation checklist that we talked about, the things that you should be looking at. We go into more detail about body language, about your speech patterns, about all sorts of things, how to identify people, etc. If you're interested in learning more about those things, then I would highly recommend that you come to our Negotiate Like a Lady workshop. We offer them once a month in various and sundry cities, so we should be coming to one relatively close to you if you're anywhere in Northern California. And our next one on that is a week from Friday on February the 9th, and that's down in the San Jose area. I'm in the midst of negotiating the contract for our location since our first location dropped out. So we should have that exact location soon. You can still go ahead and buy your tickets now. And if you do, you'll simply get an update with the location as soon as it's updated. So don't worry about that. It will be in the South Bay. It'll be, within 20, 30 minutes of, downtown San Jose. So just understand that it'll be close to you down there. So if you're in that general area and you want to come and find out some more and hang out with the two of us and Heather is going to give some bookkeeping secrets on that day. She pops in for a few minutes and gives you guys some really good teasers for her bookkeeping like a boss.
And if you sign up for the event, you'll also get in advance, you'll get a quiz for what's your negotiation style. So if you're interested to find out what your negotiation style is, you'll get that information before you come to the workshop, so that you go in with, you know, part of your toolbox already filled in. You'll know at least where you fall on the scale, so that then you can listen for those clues and those tips and tricks that are specific to your style of negotiating.
Right. So yeah, we do a self-assessment. We send it out to all of our registrants beforehand. We ask you to send it back to us, and then we get that scored for you, and you get that when you show up for the workshop. And so we tell you where you fall with your assertiveness, your cooperativeness. We tell you where you fall in terms of, so everybody has some level of, you know, all 5 of the negotiation styles. So we actually tell you which ones you use more frequently and which ones you use less frequently, so that you can see where you fall. And, you know, and it usually makes sense to people when you see it. You're like, oh yeah, that totally sounds like me. But then you, like Heather said, you'll be able to listen to things that are specific to your negotiation style to help you to sort of work through that, or to help you to bolster skills in another negotiation style that maybe isn't your number 1, but maybe it's your 3rd down the list or something. So there's a lot of cool stuff. I like it.
So should we give them a coupon code for if you are watching this video and you'd like to go and register?
Managed to make it all the way through this video. Yeah. Sure. So we will, let's see, what should we do? Should we do Savvy VIP?
There you go.
I think so. So your code will be Savvy VIP. It's SAVVY VIP. And I will go get that set up right now in Eventbrite. So what that will do is that will take an additional $50 off of the cost of admission. So if you get in on the early bird, that brings the price all the way down to $97. So get in, get registered, and remember, we feed you.
Yep.
Give you good
lunch for that. And all of these nuggets of information. So
yep.
Feed your mind and your body.
Yep. So we hope to see you there. Sorry that we sort of babbled on for about 20 minutes today. Didn't mean to. But we hope to see you guys down in San Jose. And if you can't join us there, then I think the next one after that is San Francisco. So I hope to see you at one of them pretty soon.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.